What's going on YouTube? It's Akaza here. So, I know I haven't done an interview with anybody in a while, and I've been wanting to do one here in Japan, but the problem is, my Japanese isn't on par, so it's kind of hard for me to conduct an interview with Japanese. However, found someone awesome to interview. He was a student for 7 months, and I've got a few questions for him. Anyway, what school are you going to? Or
I went to Kyoshin Language Academy.
Kyoshin Language Academy? Just a question that everybody asks them. How hard is it to live in Japan?
Well, to live in Japan, I suppose it would depend strictly on the individual. It really, like I said, that's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. And then the regions you have to take into consideration as well. If you're more inclined to the city, then it's going to be quite a bit of a change if you're going to transition over to the countryside, well, such as Kyoto or where we are now, basically.
Would you say that knowing the language, being able to read and write it, and speak it and understand it, would you say that's a requirement to live here, or
not necessarily to live here? I know quite a few individuals who make a living teaching English or whatever nationality they're from, whatever language they speak, and they don't know a lick of Japanese.
So that's not
necessarily a requirement, no.
Is it hard to what about the cost of food here? Is that a struggle?
The cost of food.
Okay.
The cost of food is very expensive in places like Tokyo, well, just as it is in New York. You need a high-paying job to sort of accommodate those expenses.
What about here in Osaka?
In Osaka, I've only been in Osaka for maybe 2 hours, so I don't know.
Well, from my experience, Osaka is rather cheap. You can get an entire meal for less than 500 yen. But I haven't been to Tokyo. That's why I asked. So you said your school is located in Tokyo?
No, Kyoto.
Kyoto.
Yeah.
I have not been there. I shall in the future. For anybody coming to Japan, what would you recommend them to do while they're here? Whether they're tourists or just whatever.
As a tourist, tourists are granted up to 90 days permission in the country. They would either have to choose to change to a different visa type or leave the country, and then once they're
what would you recommend a tourist to do over here?
A tourist just staying for 90 days?
Yeah, what should they do? What would you do if you had
Well,
money?
I came as a tourist last year. It was my first time in Japan. I went to Tokyo. Part of the experience is, of course, getting lost, taking the wrong trains.
Hell yeah.
Make sure to do stupid things like not bring umbrellas when it's typhoon season.
Yes.
And make sure your map gets really wet, so that way not only can you not read Japanese, but you can't read anything at all. Just get lost, you know. It only happens
60 billion times.
So yeah, 60 billion times, and you get used to it.
Are Japanese women irresistible?
Well,
I
think we all know the answer to that question. So.
I had to quote the Addicts. They have a song called Tokyo, and that's a good line from that song. What do you think of what was I going to ask you? So, what were you doing here as a teacher?
As a teacher?
What were you doing for a living over here?
For a living, I was doing two things. I was teaching online, and I was also teaching English at local coffee shops in my area. I lived off of a place called Takatsuchidori, and it's within maybe a 25-30 minute walk of Kyoto Station, so it's a very populated area. And yeah, it's up and coming. There's a lot of kids. The demographics were essentially middle schoolers and high schoolers. And I think it's to my understanding that they learn English in Japan. I think it might be mandatory. I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah,
Don't quote me. Once they get to higher levels, and they could choose to pursue it more or not.
Yeah,
on whatever they want.
They have to. Japanese students, they have to learn a little bit of English, but the majority of them, some of them just don't want to. They just forget about it pretty much.
Yeah. Well, it's understandable. If English is to them like Japanese is to us, then that's understandable.
Just a question, but if somebody, let's say, if a tourist is coming here for 90 days, how much money do you think they should have with them?
Oh God, and they're gonna stay those 90 days.
This is just basic, not doing anything extraordinary, just basic.
Oh, just living expenses. That's it.
Pretty much just, they're going to stay at a cheap internet cafe. They're going to maybe take the bus, maybe go see a mountain or go fishing somewhere, go to an arcade. They're going to do the basics.
Okay. Well, let's see. No. Well, are they going to be making their own food, or are they going to be shopping at a convenience store?
Probably a combination of both.
Okay. All right. For those of you, if you're anything like me and you don't know how to make food, you're going to either be buying from the convenience store until you're sick, and then you're still going to keep doing it. I'm not sure that wastes a bunch of money. For 90 days, I'd say bring as much as you can. What was your suggestion? You said 10 to 15 grand?
Yeah, anywhere from 5 to 15.
I don't know. Math
Don't
wasn't-
bring anything below 1,000.
Don't bring. No. Of course not. No, it has to be. It has to have lots of zeros.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you don't, you're
Lots of
doomed.
zeros. All right.
And if you are doomed, just contact your embassy and tell them that you made a mistake.
Right, and then the Japanese
Because
police officers here are very reliable.
in all honesty, if you're just honest with them, they're not going to do anything. They might bar you from coming back for a year or so, but hey, take that year if you get barred and just make money to come back.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But I know if you're in Kyoto, then you won't have a problem with the police. Most of the horror stories you hear about are not. Well, everybody's experience is different. I could say that my experience during my time here was great in regards to the civilians and the Japanese people in general. The school, on the other hand, the faculty, that's another story.
How was the faculty?
The faculty is, well, if you're not Japanese, you're only one of two things here in Japan. You're either Japanese or you're not Japanese.
Okay, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Just like in China, you're Chinese or you're not, pretty much.
Yeah.
I stayed in China for a night and it was
I mean, everybody's gonna have their different opinions on it.
how was it?
That was my experience.
I've never been to Kyoto before, but how was it like? As I know here, like you walk down streets and pedestrians, cyclists, and automobiles travel down the same streets together. How was it like playing Frogger with your life? Or I don't know, or if it was like that in Kyoto.
Okay, that would be the case in Tokyo. I used the sidewalks as much as I could. And I was also out at past 2 p.m. 2 a.m. 2 p.m.
What's
no,
so hardcore about
2 a.m.
2 p.m.?
2 a.m. when that's just my preference, smaller people. But actually, the streets are very narrow. You'll find them to be very narrow in Kyoto. In places like Tokyo, then yeah, you're going to be taking risks everywhere you turn. Actually, I visited Tokyo last year. The particular area I stayed in was Shinjuku. It's called Kabukicho,
Oh, nice.
and it's one of the biggest red light districts in the world. So I wouldn't. Yeah, if that's what you want, if you want a moonlight mystery going on, then go to Kabukicho.
For some fun questions, what's your favorite food in Japan?
Favorite food? Oh God. I don't know. I think I'm gonna say something blasphemous here, but cup ramen seems to be the best. And I've tried a lot, but cup ramen.
I don't know what my favorite is. I just go to stores to pick random shit
Yeah,
up
you
and
pick
eat it.
random stuff up. There you go.
What
That's the only way to do it.
Japanese alcohol, is it worth it?
Is it worth it? I like the graphic design.
And here's the one that he gave me. He doesn't want to be on camera, so that's why I'm avoiding putting him on camera. Because not everybody wants to be on there. What's that called again?
Yoi.
That's just delicious. So, what's your... the vending machines here, though.
The vending machines
They're fucking
carry everything from you can buy cars to use Japanese schoolgirl panties.
They're everywhere. They
Yeah,
got everything.
they
Some
got-
of them
they
even
got
fall...
everything.
I haven't seen a Coke machine that follows you around, though.
That actually follows you around. No, I hear they're working on it.
Oh, they don't actually have any?
That follows you around. No, I know they have robot cafes. That actually robots serve you.
I haven't been to one of those.
It's in Tokyo. I'm not sure there's anywhere.
I went to a maid well, okay, I didn't go in the maid cafe, but I in a kabuchi, fuck, I don't know the name of it.
Yeah,
It's,
Shinjuku.
it's near where Super Potato is, but I went to outside of a maid cafe and also to a cat cafe. But
Oh, a cat cafe. Why? I'm kind of allergic to
oh,
cats.
damn.
I can't do that.
And
Maybe a maid cafe where they're sort of dressed as cats.
What's your favorite Japanese musician or artist or band?
I like Hiromi. She's a jazz player.
My favorite is either Barbecue Chickens, Boy Festa, or Dazzle Vision.
Okay.
5 or 6 month period when I was a baby metal band boy.
Metal.
Baby metal.
Baby metal. I don't have no idea.
Anyway, yeah. Anything else you want to say about Japan? Any advice you want to give people?
Well, I don't know. Give me one more good question. I want to answer.
Okay, I'll just word it this way. A person doesn't know anything about Japan, but they're very curious about, for that matter, moving here for a long period of time. They don't know anything at all about it. What do you tell them? The most they know about it is anime comes in. They like anime. Let's just go
anime.
with that.
Okay. Well, that's always a good enough reason.
But do you have any just really good core advice for them since you've stayed here longer than I have? So.
Well, it's kind of the same it is with people going anywhere. I mean, for example, I like New York. Not to live though, as a tourist. I have family that live up in Washington Heights. They're down in whatever the reference is to where we're at now. Washington Heights. I wouldn't live there. To visit, it's fine. Just like Tokyo, to visit is fine. If you're more on the quiet side of the spectrum, then Kyoto or Nara, one of the more traditional cities. It's very historic, very rich in culture. If that's what you come here for, most people come for the food.
I actually came here for the food and culture.
There you go. See, so then we're in the right spot for that.
I've eaten so much Japanese food that I made myself sick.
Well, you spent one day in China, did you not?
Yeah.
Well, what is the contrast there between?
In China, food was okay. I mean, I can't even remember what I had. I know the drink that I had was pure white. It wasn't milk. I don't really know what I had, but it was okay. But the food in Japan is much better, and it's actually cheaper here too than it was in China. And also, you don't get yelled at and glared at by everybody. You don't get glared at by everybody over here like we do in China, for no reason. Walking down the street in China, foreigner. It's like, yeah, I'm a foreigner. Like, all right, calm down, sir.
When they got the guy to come out and speak English to you, you started speaking.
German.
Yeah, German.
Anyway, thanks, mate. Do you want to tell you who you are or anything?
Yes, I'm a person who lived in Japan for 7 months.
All right, This has been an interview with the person who lived in Japan. So, do swidania.